Rolling.
Why is telling other people about Jesus such a weird thing to do?
Teenagers are very much go with the flow, I think. We just kind of do us and other people. We're like, do you and I'll do me.
A lot of teenagers are kind of awkward and they probably don't like going out and saying stuff to people.
To me, it's not really that weird.
I think people focus too much on religion and not Jesus, and so they get wrapped up in what religion is and all the rules.
I think because we get caught up in trying to fit in that we don't always realize that our identity's in Christ, so fitting in doesn't always matter.
Why is sharing your faith such an uncomfortable topic?
For me, it's really not that uncomfortable. I'm just like an extrovert, so nothing's really uncomfortable for me to share. Whenever I talk about it, I'm like full force. If I'm gonna give you a little bit, I'm giving you the whole thing.
Yeah. The unknown of what they're going to respond with, I feel like, because I'm on the opposite end. I'm an introvert, so it takes a lot for me to step out and share my faith. And then it's like, well, I don't know what they're going to say. How are they going to react? Should I be prepared for possible reactions?
I think it's so uncomfortable for me because I don't know enough. I feel like every time I'm like, okay, I want to share my faith. What if they ask me this question and I don't know the answer? Then they're really not going to believe in Jesus because I don't have the answer. And so then that kind of holds me back sometimes, thinking, okay, well, maybe I need to learn more before I share my faith.
The thought that goes through my head is, you're not good enough. Like, you're not educated enough, or you don't know enough about the Bible to share your faith. Why you? And once you just kind of forget about that and put it to the back and realize that's not who God says you are. God says you're enough. That's when you can get to where you can share your faith.
Yeah.
I think Christianity or Christians really don't have that great of a reputation. I think we can all agree on that. Like anytime anytime I say like I'm Christian, they're all like, oh. So they assume that, I'm like the Christians that are judgmental, or they believe in the most wild things.
Whenever you talk about like God to other people that like may not believe, there is you can sort of feel some judgment just by like their eyesight. Whenever you do it, just don't worry about what they're doing. Worry about what God's trying to do through you.
Yeah, and it's not about me. It's not about how I feel whenever I share my faith. It's about their eternity. Like, I should want them to go to heaven more than I want to be comfortable. But a lot of the times I'm like, well, that's really uncomfortable, so maybe tomorrow.
And I feel like we want so many times to see the result, and we're not always going to see the result. All you can do is plant the seed, and you're not always going to be there to watch it grow.
Yeah, I think it's what a lot of Christians do is they're like, they want to see their outcome. They want to see how God works through all these people. And I'm like, take a chill pill.
Yeah.
That may be in 40 years. You may not be here.
Yeah, that could be overwhelming because like, if there's someone that doesn't believe in God and you're just like hovering over them every day, come to church with me, they're like, that's way too much. Like, you can share your testimony, your faith, and leave it at that, and they can think about that over time, and in 50 years, maybe they'll go to church. Like, yeah, you can't see the end result always.
Did someone share their faith with you, or where were you?
I've always believed in God, but I've never actually like accepted him in Jesus into my life until like my second year going to Switch. There was a new youth pastor, associate pastor, and it was Andre, but he was just very personal, and he always like believed in me, and it was different, and it what ultimately led me to like actually accept Jesus into my life.
Yeah, mine's kind of similar. I've always known who Jesus was, but I didn't have a relationship with him. And then my mom got sick like 4 years ago, and I was just now getting into church when that happened. And then she actually passed away 2 years ago, and that's when my faith like became my own, because I had nothing left. I had to rely on him. And so I think that was the moment that my faith really exploded.
For me, I always went to church when I was a kid. But then, like, whenever I was like 8, we stopped going to church. Then at freshman orientation for high school, I saw a kid I met at Switch there. and he's hilarious. His name's Ciantre. Love him. And then he reminded me to go back, and I just started going ever since. I started serving, and I got baptized that January.
My story is kind of similar to yours. I grew up going to church until one day we just didn't feel at home at the church we were going to, so we stopped. And I had accepted Jesus into my life, but I didn't know what it was like to have an intimate relationship with Jesus. And 7th grade, starting at the beginning of the school year, one of my friends invited me to church. And at first it was a no. And at first I just said, okay, maybe. Well, she invited me every single day of 7th grade year. And then rolled around to 8th grade, I came to church and brought my family. And that was the moment when I strived to become intimate with God and really strive to start serving and to not just know about Jesus, but to want to have a relationship with Jesus.
If someone came up to you and said, hey, I heard you're a Christian and I want to be a Christian, what do you say to them? How do you evangelize?
Come to church. Come on. Let's go. We got Switch. Come on. I don't care. I'll pick you up.
I don't know how to react in situations like that. I'm just like, that's cool. And then I go about what I'm doing.
I love feeling like known and accepted and celebrated. So I feel like I would want to make them feel so celebrated and be so excited for them, because that's an awesome step. And then probably just be their friend and invite them to church and stuff.
You can show them how loving and accepting God is too.
Yeah.
And like you can show them through yourself. Mm-hmm. Like no judgment.
Has anyone ever taught you how to share your faith?
No.
Yes.
I don't know if there's a specific way. Yeah. I think everyone's is different. So I don't know if I've ever been taught the exact way on how to do it.
Or learning from others. I feel like I wasn't necessarily taught a specific way to share my faith, but watching other people that I look up to share their faith made me think, wow, like I can do that too.
Is going to church and following Jesus the same thing?
No. You can go to church every Sunday and just sit there and be like,
Yeah, for real.
Like the music.
yeah,
And not
music is nice.
Going through the motions is different than actually feeling.
Right.
And I think you can go to church all you want, but until you realize that there's only one thing you need, and that's Jesus, it's not gonna matter how many times you go to church or how consistent you are.
Yeah, I got caught up in that a lot. I would serve and attend, and like that was my thing. I was like, I can't miss church on Sunday. But then I realized, when was the last time I actually talked to God? Like I read my Bible and I sat down and just listened and was quiet for a second and talked to him through things. And then it was like there's an obvious difference, because what I feel when I'm serving and attending, and then whenever I'm actually in the Word, listening to him, talking to him, there's a difference.
Yeah, because you can go to church every Sunday and you can serve, but what are you doing on your time outside of church? Like, people can be like not even following Jesus on the outsides.
Because following Jesus is an everyday thing.
Exactly.
It's not just something you do on Sundays.
Yeah. And it's so personal too.
It
Yeah.
really is.
Some people, they like saying, I go to church, but really that doesn't like mean anything. You can go to church all you want. I think I'd rather have someone go to church though than not go to church.
Yeah.
Like if you're there, you're probably gonna eventually be like, whoa, that's pretty crazy.
good. Yeah.
He fed like how many people with like what many pieces of bread?
And I think for a lot of people who serve, not just in Life Church, but in so many churches, we get to the point where like we feel like we have to be there every Sunday, especially when you're serving with kids, because they're all like, am I gonna see you next week? And I'm like, you know what? I work every day this week. I don't wanna come in, but you get up, you get out of bed, you just going through the motions, but then you have to remember that like these children are looking up to you.
Yeah.
I got to that mindset like last year.
Right.
Whenever I realized that, whoa, I'm one of the big kids now. I have to like, because I remember how I used to look up to people older than me, and then I like wanted to do what they did because it was just cool.
Yeah.
And now I'm realizing the little kids at Switch, they're looking at what I'm doing as an example and what they should be doing.
You have to remember why you're serving. Like, you're not serving to look better or to seem cool. It's to change those kids' lives.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be like an obligation. It should feel like
you want to be there. Yeah.
A passion.
Awesome. Question sticker.
What's one thing you hope people watching this will take away from this conversation?
The difference in going through the motions and having your heart in following Jesus, because there is a difference.
Yeah.
The church is a building, and there's also people in it. When you come out the church, you still have to love God. You still have to follow God. You can't just be like in the church and love God and follow God in church and then leave and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna do me.
Yeah. I think that having your own faith is so important. Like, just because you go to church, you have to make sure that your faith isn't just based on the people around you. While that might be really cool for you to grow in your faith, like seeing everyone else around you growing in their faith with God, but making sure that your own is strong.
Yeah.
And also, like, building off what you said, knowing the differences and actually being challenged to start actually going out of your way to talk to God, to like spread your faith, and also knowing the difference between pushing your faith on someone and sharing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.